What's up, guys? Welcome into the Guilty as Charged podcast. We are recording this on Tuesday, but we are dropping this on Friday because the Chargers hopefully didn't pick an edge rusher at 17. So we're continuing our Finding the Edge series with Gavino Borquez from Chargers Wire to try to look at some day 3, maybe even round 3 edge prospects the Chargers could be looking at. So, Gavino, how you doing? You are almost there to the draft. I know you've been busy. We've all been busy. How are you feeling?
Definitely been busy, man. This draft, again, Chargers are already going to have their first round pick. We're assuming that's not going to be an edge defender.
Yeah.
But I've been doing this series. It's been a lot of fun and just kind of finding guys who, quote unquote, are flying under the radar, aren't being mentioned as much. We talked about Alex Wright. We talked about Amari Barno. So I have two other guys who could be in consideration based on what Staley covets at the position, just their fit and, them potentially being edge 3 or just a pass rush specialist that could contribute in year 1. So that's kind of what the Chargers need right now. We talked about this the last time. I thought the Chargers were going to address that spot in free agency, but now they didn't. They've kind of set themselves up to go into the draft and come away with the edge defender. So, I've been looking at guys, again, that are flying under the radar and talking about them and how they can fit.
Yeah, absolutely. Let's get into it. So the first one you have today is, I believe, Luiji Vilain from Wake Forest. Is that correct?
Yep. And Luiji Vilain, he's a Michigan transfer. He spent the first 2 seasons over there. He only played a total of 6 games. And then he went over to Wake Forest for his final season where he logged 8 sacks. So career high numbers. He had a productive season for the Demon Deacons. But one thing that stands out is the measurables and the testing. So coming in at 6'3", 255 pounds, 34-inch arms. And if there's one thing that's Staley likes, length. We're looking at Rump with 33 3/4-inch arms. Even Justin Hollins, he was when Staley was with the Broncos. They took Hollins, I think, round 5, and he was a guy who had 33 3/8 arms. So they're looking at length. That's something to look at. But the explosiveness is something that really stands out too. And with Velain, he posted at his pro day, he wasn't invited to the combine, a 7.01 3-cone, which would have been 3rd among defensive ends.
Wow.
A 4.25 short shuttle and a 1.57 10-yard split. That's pretty insane right there. And I mean, when you look at his film, which we're going to get to in a little bit, it shows how he gets off the ball, how he kind of just closes the quarterback. So, again, this is a guy who's explosive on the field, and it showed with his testing. And, it's no surprise that the Chargers met with him. So I've got 2 plays. We're not going to be looking at run defense. Again, we're kind of looking at some pass rush specialists primarily, and I think that's what the Chargers are going to be looking for with whoever they might draft. So with this first play, he's going to be lined up in a wide 9, so he's going to be on the left side of the screen going against the right tackle. And what he's going to do, you're able to see him fire off the ball. He's going to give the tackle a little quick stutter with the right foot. And then this goes to show his use of length. So he's just going to simply work his way. So you can kind of see like how long his arms right there to create some separation. He's going to go ahead and finish on the quarterback for the sack. This next play right here, this is probably one of the most fun play that I watched out of all the prospects. So he's clearly been watching a lot of Joey Bosa, with the side scissors, 2-hand swipe.
Okay,
but
nice.
I don't know what this left tackle is thinking. So he's going to be on the right side of your screen, but you're going to end up seeing this offensive tackle on his ass right here. So he's going to get off the ball. He's going to go with a 2-hand swipe, and he gets off balance. And, again, this goes to show that this left tackle, who is the left tackle for Boston College? Is it Vrabel?
I actually think it is Vrabel. He's one of the tackles. I just don't know if he's a left tackle.
He's not going to be drafted at this point, but look at it. So he's going to end up on the ground right there.
Oh.
Look how he closes the quarterback. So I'll run that play back.
Wow. Okay.
Right there. So we see that get off right there. Simple 2-hand swipe to dispose of the hands, just closing in on the quarterback right there for the sack. So, again, he's a traits guy. Both these guys that I'm going to show you, they do need to add a little bit more to the pass rush arsenal. They can convert speed to power really well, but in terms of getting off the ball and then just getting to the quarterback based off that, it stands out. And with Chris Rumph, who they took last year in the 4th round, he lacks that strength. So having a guy like one of these who has that power, who can convert speed to power really well, I think that's something that the Chargers need. And when I'm looking at a rotational pass rusher, whatever, edge 3, this is a guy who I think you can take maybe round 5. He might even go earlier. I say round 5, round 6, but he might even go earlier just based on off his testing. I feel like teams are looking more into that. And at this point, he should still be available. And, it's promising to know that the Chargers met with him, but no surprise. And we can kind of see that based on the film and kind of just like the measurables all together.
Yeah, I mean, obviously these aren't all the plays. And like you said, there's things to clean up. He's not a first round pick for a reason.
Right there, and he had 2 against Boston College, and 1 came against Tyler Vrabel, who's a draft prospect. I didn't really get to him, but he's being pegged as a day 3 guy, and if he was a left tackle, put him on his ass just with a simple 2-hand swipe. So maybe just speaks to Vrabel as a player, but still, you can kind of see the explosiveness off the ball. You can kind of see that there's something with the hands, and then the length. He does a good job with using that length to create separation.
Yeah, he was actually one of the guys I was first going to interview, but he ended up having way too much things to do with like film study and preparation and stuff like that. So, but we've had brief conversations, and he seems to be a really nice guy. Chargers met with him at the College Gridiron Showcase, I think, is what happened. I don't even think it was the Shrine Bowl. Yeah,
so he was there at the College Gridiron Showcase, so one of the smaller All-Star games.
Yeah,
still,
right.
He did well there, and now he's generating some buzz. I think he met with, had some meetings with 8 teams. And
okay.
Again, he'll be at this point when this video is out, he'll be likely drafted in the next few rounds because again, a team is going to bet on those traits, and especially with that position too, that's what they're looking at, and especially the measurables.
Yeah, you have those measurables, and I get the injury history being a concern, of course, but like those measurables and that production.
He's 24 too, but they're going to be looking at that, and I feel like teams are going to be betting on that all day. So a team like the Chargers, that kind of fits what Staley looks for. So it wouldn't be a surprise if the Chargers took him with one of their, I'd say day 3 picks. I think round 3 is still a little rich, but again, you could go as early as round 4. The Chargers really need another edge defender.
Yeah, there's certainly if you do any kind of simulation or look at mock draft database or whatever, a lot of good edge rushers go before 79. So they're going to have to find the best they possibly can. If it's not the 3rd round, at least in the 4th round, one of these edge rushers, whether it be, Barno and Wright, like you showed, like Velain here, like the guy you're about to show. Like it's very tough to find someone in a mock draft simulation that you can get in the 3rd round that's kind of worth it. But I feel like you can find a decent edge 3, edge 4 in round 4, round 5, and someone like Velain presents a ton of upside.
That's what I've enjoyed the most about trying to find these under the radar guys, because we know about like the Majai Sanders, D'Angelo Malone, all these other guys, but I feel like Velain, he hasn't been mentioned with those guys, but like, again, that's kind of the fun part about this whole draft process is finding guys like that, and just bringing them to your attention, because again, the Chargers might pick one of them, but I really look at what Brandon Staley likes at that position, just going back to his days. Like I mentioned, Justin Hollins, Hollins had a 36.5-inch vertical. He had a 7.063 cone drill. So he does kind of favor that explosiveness. And we see it with Rumph too, who's a clear athlete. He's a skinnier guy coming out of college, but at the same time, he had that length, and then he also had that explosiveness. And that's something that he simply just looked for at the position. So,
absolutely.
Going into the next guy, I've got David Anenih out of Houston. So with him, he is a guy who has a little bit more experience. So he has 43 games under his belt where he produced 20.5 sacks. Again, that's a loaded defensive front in general. It seems like there's someone coming out of Houston recently, and with Logan Hall being a part of that defensive line too, and then Peyton Turner last year. Houston seems like they're producing some quality defensive linemen. Yeah, and starting with the measurables, 34 3/8 inch arms. So right there with the length, but 36.5-inch vertical, and then 10-foot 3 inches broad jump. So again, the testing right there just goes to show that he's an explosive player. and the tape backs that up. So he was also an East-West Shrine Bowl participant. He stood out there as well. And again, he's started to generate a little bit of buzz as a nice day 3 guy. So I have 3 plays to kind of show what he does well. And the first play, just that explosiveness, kind of like with Velain earlier, just a simple speed to power. So with him, he's going to be, right side of your screen. So he's going to be going against the left tackle. So he's going to come off the ball quick, and he's going to simply use that speed to power. He creates separation right there with his length and keeps that separation, and then finishes in on Zach Wilson. This is 2020 tape right here. The next play right here, he was used as a quarterback spy. They dropped him in the coverage a good bit into some zones as well. So he's going to be lined up the left side of the left guard on the screen. And right here, he's just going to be able to process the quarterback. And this is going to show how good he is in space and how fast he is to close in on running backs, quarterbacks. So right there, he's reading the quarterback. And then from here, quarterback tries to get some space, but he's not going to allow it to tap in. And then you kind of see right there. So he's a guy that I think you can kind of use around the line right there, kind of like with Rumph, coming out of Duke, they line him inside. They just wanted to get him free and use athleticism to close in on quarterbacks. I feel like as opposed to Velain, where you're going to kind of keep him outside, he's got the power to be kicked inside. But yeah, with Anenih, again, if you can kind of line him up into like more off the ball type role, he has that speed and the athleticism to close in on quarterbacks. And the last play that I have to show with Anenih is he's going to be on the left side of your screen, going against the left tackle. But this is going to show good use of length right here. So again, he's going to come off the ball. He's going to go with more of a stab move to create some separation. But right here, you can kind of see some balance through contact right there. So he doesn't go on the ground, but just look at that motor right there to close in on the quarterback and make a play for him to throw the ball away. So 2 really fun prospects that I was able to watch, and we can kind of see with the measurables and just the traits. Those are players that I feel like Brandon Staley would bring in. We're looking at edge 3. I really think that Rumph is going to take a big step, and I think the team is banking on him. So I know we want to label the edge 3, but in my opinion, they just need a rotational guy who can come in, get after the quarterback. And, with that, the difference is that they're stronger than Rumph, so they'd be coming in. They've got the trait, but they also have that strength to take on these NFL offensive linemen. So as opposed to Rumph, where you just don't want to keep them clean as much as possible. And you can kind of see that right there. I talked about with Barno, too. He's an athlete for sure, too. He can get a little bit stronger. Same thing with Alex Wright, too. But at the same time, we look at just these explosive traits with the testing and then just on the field, and that's something that Staley is going to bet on all day.
Yeah, I love it. And so I like this series because we're finding guys that fit probably what Staley is looking for, and he is really calling the shots on defense. So if he has sort of a prototype, if it's one of these guys, if it's something like one of these guys, that's great. But rather than just focusing on everyone in the draft, I love that you're able to hone in on specific guys with specific traits or characteristics, production, whatever, to fit what the Chargers want. Before I let you go, I did want to go through this NFL mock draft database and just the consensus big board, which ranks all the edge rushers. And I just wanted to know if there was someone or a couple of guys, and I'll just kind of scroll through here and you could stop me at any time. Is there someone, at round 3, you think, round 4, round 5, like walk me through
if Drake Jackson is there in round 3, I'm kind of running the podium with that. I really like Drake Jackson, and that's a traits guy who's a little bit underfined, but you're going to be running to the podium if he is there. Again, that just depends on what positions they value at that point and what they take in round 1. But he's a traits guy like all day, but he's one who I can bank on being a quality edge 3 in year 1. Just given watching his film, me being a Pac-12 guy, I watched plenty of him. So he's a quality player. When we're looking at the rest of the guys, I don't think Cameron Thomas is a fit for the Chargers. Pascal, I get the versatility. I know he's been mentioned in mocks quite a bit. with Majai Sanders, he's one that I could see fitting. D'Angelo Malone, yes. Dominic Robinson, I didn't get to do a breakdown on him, but he's an intriguing one for sure too. I might do like a separate article for some of these guys too, like finding the edge. So obviously we have some breakdowns too, but there's I feel like a few guys that I missed. With Christopher Allen out of Alabama, intriguing guy. I think he dealt with some injuries, if I'm not mistaken.
I have no idea.
Okay. Adam Anderson, again, good player, but
yes,
we know what he's dealing with right now, because Adam Anderson I thought was a quality fit for the Chargers, but once that all came out, I'm like, he's off the board. And that was early on too, and I was like, nope. But let me see. Jeremiah Moon, versatile player, who I feel like they might bet on. He's got some traits to him. And then that's pretty much it that really stands out, because we're getting to the point where I see some guys that I didn't really get to watch.
I think Velain's listed as a defensive lineman on their big board. Why? I don't know. But yeah, he's 342 as a defensive lineman.
And again, I feel like with that, it goes to show like why I enjoyed this series, because he's being tabbed as 342nd prospect right there. But I like this tape quite a bit, and you're betting on traits right there. And we're looking at the 2 years spent at Michigan, and yes, he only played 6 games, didn't really produce, but I think that Wake Forest, this time at Wake Forest, really showed like what he's capable of. And again, older prospect, 24, but at the same time, it's a guy that I would bet on all day.
Yeah, if he can hit the ground running and he's good and he's healthy, then there you go. So, out of curiosity, did you grade or rank Chris Rumph last year?
So he's a guy that I didn't write a full report on. I have something on my Twitter where I kind of was able to jot some notes and everything, but he didn't get an official grade from me. So when we took him, I wasn't surprised because I made that tweet about him, but I feel like he's the one guy that was kind of lost in the shuffle. We have these other guys, and then when they took Chris Rumph, I'm like, okay, this does make sense. I don't know why I didn't do a full report on him. So I just kind of look at the measurables with him, 33 and 3/4 of an inch arm. And then I think he wasn't a participant at the pro day. Was he? Or he didn't have I'm sorry, not the pro day, it's the combine. He didn't have a pro day, I believe, or he didn't participate. But at the same time, you can kind of see the athleticism, right off the jump. So, and then, beyond that, I look at guys like Justin Hollins is a good example. That's when Staley was outside linebackers coach for the Broncos, and he kind of fits that mold, especially with that vertical 3-cone and broad jump for sure. Just one of those lengthy type guys, long arms.
Yeah.
And, yep.
No, that's awesome. I Chris Rumph was definitely lost in the shuffle for me. I didn't watch as many prospects last year, but Steven missed him. A lot of people just kind of missed him because you're prioritizing certain players, schools, perhaps. Chris Rumph from Duke, not really high on many boards. You don't prioritize them, but then you lose them. So this year I'm hoping one of these 4 guys pops up for the Chargers, and you're like, oh, who is that? But then we've already covered that because you've done all your work here. People can come back and watch that. So that's what I'm hoping for. One of these guys is selected, because that'd be really cool. All right, so the Chargers. Last thing before I let you go, number 17 overall pick. They're not trading up. We know that. I don't know if they're trading down. What do you think is happening at 17? I'm going to ask
obviously
you.
We'll kind of be speaking into the future a little bit, and I think,
that's right.
Yeah. So one of Zion Johnson, Chris Olave, Trent McDuffie. I'll narrow it down to 3. One of those 3 will be in a Chargers uniform.
Yeah, I like
didn't
it.
mention Penning because I'm not on the phone. Not on the Trevor train.
I can't find anyone who's driving that train. I can't. That's a very empty train. It's not to the North Pole and nobody's on it. It's too cold. All right, Gavino, thanks so much for joining me today. Even though today posting it will be Friday, which means you've already been on the show on Thursday. But thanks for doing this.
Chargers will have a new member.
I think so. I hope so. I hope I don't go to the draft, stand there for 9 hours, and then they trade back into the second round. So hopefully they have a new member on Thursday.
Yes.
All right. Thanks so much, Gavino. Take care, man.
Yep.